etc. There we go. Now we're live. Okay. So I hope the comments on. You can leave a comment, question, whatever. All right. So it's your friendly neighborhood physical therapist, Dr. Ryan Welton. I am coming to you live from just outside of the beautiful Tampa Bay area. Today, I am talking about something that shocked me years ago, okay? Which is that I used to see these patients all the time, and I still do see these patients all the time that come in here and they have seen a medical doctor for testicular numbness, tingling, some type of symptom in there, which they should see a medical doctor with something like that. Or in females, the pelvic floor numbness, tingling, some type of symptoms going on in there. And they, on the male side of it, they usually go see the MD, and the MD's like, when they end up here, the MD's like, I don't know, there's nothing wrong. We ultrasound you, we did everything. On the female side of it, they do the same. They go to the OBGYN, but then they end up in pelvic floor physical therapy. Okay. Now, so it used to be a guessing game, for SI joint with me. Like when I first graduated from college, right? They, whatever that cluster test is or whatever. But when I wrote a paper that statistically made medical history, called Root Cause of SI Joint Dysfunction. And in that paper, I proposed that SI joint dysfunction is caused by an upslip and or outflare of the pelvis. Okay. Now, SI joint has been documented to, see that there? Has been documented to go down into the lateral calf. And I have never seen it documented to go into the foot. Okay, this is my SI joint chart. I colored this one in. Okay, and now, and it also was not documented, to my knowledge, that you could actually have genital numbness, tingling, tightness symptoms in the genital region, but I colored that in recently. Okay, and the reason why I colored it in is because I used that diagnostic procedure that I published. Click on my school group below, SKOOL, just go below, click on my school group and join that group. It's my free VIP group. I have a link to all my papers in there, my medical papers that I wrote that statistically have made medical history in readership. And what I have found is when I started using that diagnostic procedure to realign the upslip and or outflare. They usually have both in the chronic pain world, I find in here. And I have basically a low back pain SI joint clinic. That's basically what I do all day long. Upslip and or outflare like that. So up, out, when I started realigning these things, it became not a guessing game for me. What was caused by what was actual nerve pain, sciatica, or what was SI joint referred pain, like this chart right here. Okay. And because the patient's pain would go away instantly if it was referred from the SI. Now, years ago, I started seeing people in here that would have genital symptoms, right? On the male side of it, they go to their primary care, ultrasounds, whatever they do to screen them for anything serious. On the female side of it, they usually go to the OBGYN and then they go to a pelvic floor physical therapist. And by the time they got in here, they were just so frustrated and they're like, this, nobody knows what's wrong with me type thing, right? But I started opening these SIs up and I would ask them, I would open it or hold it open and ask them, do you still feel those symptoms in the genital region? And I would say probably in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years, I've had probably 5 or 6 cases of this where I would open up their SI, pull on their leg, read my papers, and go to the school group below. It's free, read it. Click on the school group, join my VIP group, and I would open up that outflare of their pelvis, and boom, their pain would go away immediately, whether it be back, hip, but groin is a common symptom, but to my knowledge, it's never been documented that it goes into the actual genital region. But I started opening these things up, and just out of curiosity, I'd be like, is that testicular pain still there? And they'd be like, no. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, wow, I don't believe that's ever been documented. Maybe I'm wrong. And because these patients have been through everybody, most prestigious hospitals in the United States, that kind of thing, right? And currently, I have a patient right now who's a physical therapist. I treat a lot of physical therapists. And this particular patient has the same thing going on. Okay. So what I did was pull on the leg, gap open the SI, hold it open. I had a ball squeeze. You got to get the upslip first if you're going to do the ball squeeze to create an in flare, the opposite of an out flare, and open that portion of it. And did it today in this particular patient after a year of trying all kinds of people and being a physical therapist, said it's gone immediately. So that told me that is actually what was causing the actual genital pelvic floor numbness, tingling. Okay, so when you have a diagnostic procedure that you can use to realign the mechanics of someone's shoulder or whatever it is, and their pain goes away, then that tells you what it is, right? If you have an impingement syndrome and I push it back and down in the socket, and then you don't have an impingement syndrome anymore, while I do a joint roll and hold it there, then it's telling you what's wrong, right? It's telling you what's wrong and what you need to do to fix it, right? So pelvic floor therapists, listen to me. I see this all the time in the female population, but when I see these people that have this groin pain or genital pain, numbness, tingling, whatever, tightness, they go to you like crazy. And when they come to me, I start thinking SI. Sure, you can have pelvic floor issues. Obviously, that's a common issue for pelvic floor pain or symptoms. But this is actually radiating from the sacroiliac joint into the genital region. Okay, so when someone has symptoms like that, screen the SI. I always say, screen the SI. From lower thoracic, I've seen thoracic pain from SI. How do I know that? Because I open up my patient's SI and their pain's gone. Okay, immediately. So I was like, oh wow, that was actually from SI, right? And then into the foot, I have seen it into the heel, into the top of the foot. Okay, and even foot drop. I have 2 cases documented in my SI paper. Click on the school group below. It's my free VIP group. And I have my papers in there as well as other teachings for my cash-based clinic and clinical mentorship. And you'll be able to tell. It takes the guessing game out of mechanical diagnostics when you know what you're doing and you realign it mechanically. You know what I'm saying? So this is beyond important, okay? Because these people become medical mysteries and they become desperate, And I always say, every time I talk, I'm like, we got save the whales, we got, save the rainforest, but like, people need to have bumper stickers. Maybe I should get one that says save the mechanical back pain patients, because what I see in here on a daily, weekly basis is a human tragedy. Right before break, I just got back. Right before break, I had 3 patients break down sobbing in the week or 2 before break because I diagnosed them with SI joint dysfunction. I will share a video with you. I asked this one woman, I don't like to ask people when they first show up here if I can take a video of them, but I asked this one lady, I said, they teach us in school, like, it's like just hurts over here, but like, like I said, I use my diagnostic procedure. And when I use my diagnostic procedure, I was able to see that it was actually all across their back and their butt, their groin, sometimes their thigh, into their foot, down their leg. They were diagnosed with sciatica because they had a herniated disc. A lot of my patients have undergone fusion surgeries. I have one guy with a spinal cord stimulator right now. nobody knew what to do. And then they show up here and I realign their SI, boom, their pain is gone immediately down their leg, you know, in their foot, wherever, knee, into their groin too, their actual genital region. Okay. So this is beyond important because if we miss this, a lot of these people end up with the story like I see in here, which is a tragedy. It's such a tragedy what happens to these people. They're in debilitating pain. But this one patient, I asked her, I said, we learned in school that this was like some pesky thing, SI joint. I'm like, she's like, no. I'm like, yeah, no. And I'm like, and she's like, this lady tried to roll over on my mat and it took her a full minute. When she walked in, she had a quad cane. I thought she had a stroke, right? But that's common, not the quad cane part of it, but to have someone take like a minute to walk 30 feet or a minute to roll over because they're shearing their SI joints, okay? And so I asked her, I said, we learned that this is some pesky thing. Obviously, that's not. I said, for my colleagues, do you mind if I take a video of what you're going through? She's actually doing better in the video, but you won't think so when you see it. And I asked her if I could take a video in the, like, when these people just show up type thing, not when I get them better and it's like, oh, wow, look at they're getting, they're better. And she said, sure. So I am going to share that video on social media. And it's severe SI joint dysfunction. This woman has pain literally everywhere and like across her back, in her groin. She says, people don't know how bad this is, how bad I'm struggling in life. Like a lot of these people tell me, I wrote it in my sacral paper. They thought about this, 57% of my patients in my sacral paper. I wanted to document that for my colleagues to see this isn't some pesky thing. This is like, you can't miss this, So you'll see this video of this woman, this poor woman, trying to get around, and she has a quad cane because she's in so much pain. She can't sleep. They can't roll over. Ask them these questions. These are the main questions to ask during evaluation. Do you have put it on your intake form. Do you have issues rolling over in bed due to pain? Do you have issues sitting on certain surfaces or sitting at all? Do you have issues getting up in the morning, like an arthritis patient, getting up and it takes a while to get moving? Well, it's locked down, and it's locked down out of alignment because they slept, and it's shearing bone pain, okay? That's why it hurts so bad with these people, okay? And bending over, extending back, that hurts. And laying on their side. A lot of them can't lay on their side. A lot of them have to sleep in lazy boys just to get a relatively decent night's sleep. These people are on their last leg. I just evaluated a police officer the other day, yesterday actually, who told me, like, I don't want to live like this, man. I can't play with my kid. I can't do anything. I've been in this pain for 20 years. I've seen so many people, and nobody knows what to make of it, And I'm like, I think I have an idea what's wrong. And I realigned his upslip, opened up his out flare, join my school group below. You'll see how I'm doing this. I post videos, and yeah, no, he was out of pain immediately and rotated his sacrum back. He had a sacral torsion, which I also wrote a paper on that, which you can find in my school group below, and I teach. Anyways, we can't miss this, because if we miss this, these people struggle and they spend so much money. My average patient in here, I would say, tells me that they spent $20,000 to $120,000 by the time they get to me on this. Goes on forever, and they get laughed at. They get, a lot of my patients have told me they've been referred to psychiatrists. And one lady was prescribed Haldol, and then she comes in, she was out of pain in 30 seconds. And it was her SI, because this stuff doesn't show up on an X-ray and MRI, right? So it doesn't show up on an X-ray and MRI. Now you're in checkmate. You know what I'm saying? It's like stress, like diagnosing stress, or headaches from stress. Like, it doesn't show up on an X-ray and MRI, so people scan the brain, this, that, the other thing. But they're not, if they're not taking into account that the person's stressed, and that's why their nervous system is upregulated, and that's why they have tension in their neck because their nervous system got dialed up, then you can never really address the root cause, right? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's that. Dana, says you rock. Oh, thank you. You rock. Thank you. Anyways, that's that. But you have to screen the SI, okay? Genital issues can be from SI joint dysfunction, okay? They should see an MD, but when most of my patients have seen MDs, and when I open up their SIs, rotate their sacrum back, boom, goes away a lot of the time. And I'm like, no, it was actually this, shocked me. Anyways, this has been quite a journey in my career, this whole SI thing. Like a lot of these conditions, but SI is the one that is like, whoa, man, like this is the cause of so much back pain, and my patients come in just totally frustrated that everyone's missed this, for decades if they make it, Anyways, that's that. Peace. Love you all.